guys, my name is Christina and I'm the owner of Wink and Blush Beauty in Washington, D.C. Today I will be showing you how to lash super curly lashes without the lash curler or lash perms. Let's get into it. Today we're doing a hybrid fill on this client. As you can see, my client has very curly lashes and they crisscross quite a bit. For curly lashes, I like to stick with D-curl or double D-curl. When lashing, we want the base of the false lash to touch as much as the natural lash as possible. So wherever you're dipping your glue, you want that to be able to be touching most of the natural lash for optimum retention. When lashing curly lashes, the most important first step is isolation. If you notice, I use both of my tweezers to isolate a lash. My dominant hand is my right hand, my less dominant hand is my left hand. So I use my left hand as a comb and then I use my right hand as the pick to pick out the lash that I am going to put the false lash on. Once you get the lash isolated that you want to lash, before you do anything, you want to let the natural lash rest. When you let the natural lash rest after isolating, you get to see which direction that natural lash is curling in. Once you see the direction that the natural lash is curling in, you want to take the false lash and get it as close to the base as possible without touching the lash line. Ideally, you want to place the false lash 0.5 millimeters to 1 millimeter away from the lash line. You never want the false lash to touch the skin. When I do my hybrid sets, I like to go in with all classics first before putting in fans. The second most important step when doing curly lashes is the direction of the false lash. Direction of the false lash is so important on curly clients. Depending on how the client's curly lashes are curling, sometimes they curl downward, you would want to place the false lash on top of the lash. Sometimes if the lash is curling to the left or the right, you want to place the false lash on the opposite side of where the lash is curling. So yes, you can attach the lash to the side if you didn't know. Of course, if the lash is curling upward, the best attachment or placement for attachment is underneath the client's bottom lash. As the lash artist, it is so important to pay attention to these minor details because this will dictate how your set comes out at the end. Remember, it doesn't matter which way the client's natural lash is pointing. You always want to make sure that that false lash is pointing up and towards the ceiling. Never put it on slanted. If it's on wrong, take it off and do it over again. Another important tip for lashing curly girls. Once you lay down a false lash on a natural lash, you want to skip far away over to another part of the eye to give the one you just laid, the lash you just laid, a chance to cure. If you don't give that one that you just laid some time to cure and you lash another lash too close, you might run the risk of the client's lash laying over and curing into the one that you laid, and you're going to get a bunch of stickies. You don't want that. So give those lashes time to cure. I personally like to do one eye at a time, but I know most teachers or lash instructors tell us that it's good to lash both eyes at the same time. So to lessen the chance of stickies, you could do 10 on one eye, but make sure you hop around the eye, and then you can move over to the left side and do 10 on that eye, so that gives a chance for the other eye to cure. and you still lessen the chance of having stickies. As you can see, I'm now starting to lay the volume fans. All the same rules apply. We want to make sure that our fans are attached from underneath or on the side or on the top. Again, it all depends on that one lash and how it curls. With the curly girls and the fans, it is important to make sure that those extensions are wrapping around the natural lash. We really want great attachment. Don't forget, you're making sure you keep track of the directions of the false lashes that you're putting on those curly lashes. The closer to the base that you get, and make sure that those extensions are pointing on straight, your set is going to look so uniform. The only thing is with curly girls, as their lashes start to grow out, that set starts to look wild. So what you don't want is to not have your direction straight when you're applying the lashes, because if they look wild when you put them on, then it's going to look wild in 2 to 3 weeks. Also, when doing your fans, you don't want too much glue. Again, if you use too much glue, you run the risk of getting stickies, and it's going to be a pain in the butt trying to unstick all of that, and the lashes start curling into each other. It's going to be a mess if you don't do this in an organized fashion. Another technique that I like to use when I'm applying lashes is to slide the extension down to where I need it. So you make sure you don't place the extension on top, because it has the chance of being just brushed off. You really want the false lashes to hug the natural lash. You may have noticed that I switched tweezers in my non-dominant hand. I like to isolate with curved tweezers as well as pointy tweezers or straight tweezers. I like to think of it as switching gears. Sometimes the straight tweezers can get into really hard spots that the curved tweezers can't get into, and vice versa. So I work with 3 pairs of tweezers throughout my sets. Now I'm pulling the client's eye over a little bit just so we can get in that inner corner. And as you can see, I switch back to my straight tweezer. Look at that technique. Remember, we use our non-dominant hand to comb through the lashes, and we use the dominant hand to flick out the natural lash that we are going to lash. It makes lashing so much easier when you use both hands to isolate instead of just one. Look at how this little lash curves to the left and upwards a little bit. So I'm going to apply and slide down and apply it on the side. And we're done. Look at that baby. It looks so gorgeous. Here's the finished product. Don't forget to follow Wink and Blush Beauty on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.